I'm not going to lie, I felt very relaxed. And half of that comes from preparing, studying, and knowing I got God on my side. So throughout all that, I had no worries. I didn't feel nervous or anything before the game because, he took all my worries and everything away. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed a lot. Coming up here before y'all, I ain't 6-7 months ago. I couldn't tell you I'll be here, God only the only way I'm able to even get through everything, Being able to see my family, that was important. And I'm happy that I was here to be able to witness it. But oh God, nothing possible, honestly. And I mean that truly and dearly. And everybody starts different places and like I say, just because I didn't get the summer reps, just because I wasn't in the best situation for me to be prepared to go out there and execute like from a summer standpoint. That's how life is, Everybody's not in the right, everybody's not in the best situation, but it's no excuse. You got to go out there and perform. Like there's no choice, there's no question. Nobody cares if this was 1 week of prep. Who cares, So, a lot of people want to see me fail. And it ain't going to happen. Breaking news erupts across the NFL landscape tonight as the Cleveland Browns walk away with a statement victory. And once again, everything comes back to Shedeur Sanders. For anyone tracking Cleveland's quarterback drama since draft night, the skepticism, the tension, the locker room division tonight was validation. A 5th-round pick, the analysts mocked. A quarterback ownership demanded a player the coaching staff avoided playing. A controversy that nearly tore the franchise apart. None of it matters anymore. Shedeur Sanders just silenced every critic in one night. The Browns defeat the Raiders because of him. 11 for 20 doesn't tell the story. This wasn't about efficiency. This was about command, clutch timing, and pure takeover energy that turned Huntington Bank Field into a pressure cooker of emotion and vindication. Sources at field level described the stadium atmosphere as unlike anything Cleveland has seen all year. The moment Sanders stepped onto the field during warmups, fans stood, pointed to him, and chanted his name like he was walking out of a tunnel at WrestleMania. This wasn't just a starting quarterback taking reps. This was a city finally seeing the guy they've been begging for since the moment the Browns traded up to draft him. And he delivered. Let's break down what actually happened because the box score doesn't capture the chaos, the momentum shift, or the sheer electricity that Sanders brought to a franchise that spent 2 decades drowning in quarterback purgatory. The Browns' offense sputtered early inconsistent protection, conservative play calling, a run game that couldn't break loose. The moment felt familiar. Another Cleveland offensive collapse waiting to happen. Another game where the defense carries the load while the offense limps through 3 and outs. Another Sunday where fans leave early because they've seen this movie before. Then Sanders took control. His first big strike, a deep shot down the sideline, electrified the stadium. He read the coverage perfectly, noticed the safety shading late, and fired a dart exactly where it needed to be. The ball traveled 40-plus yards in the air, dropped into his receiver's hands like it was drawn on a chalkboard, and the entire building exploded. Fans erupted. Momentum shifted instantly. Veterans on the sideline reportedly looked at each other like, this kid is him. But the real moment, the one that defines tonight's win, the one that will be replayed in Cleveland sports bars for years, came in the 4th quarter. Raiders creeping back, Browns losing rhythm, stadium getting nervous, classic Cleveland collapse moment brewing. The energy that had been so electric just minutes earlier was turning into dread. You could feel it. The fans could feel it. The coaches could feel it. Not with Shedeur. On 3rd and long, deep in Browns territory. With the game hanging in the balance, he stepped up in the pocket under pressure, kept his eyes downfield while bodies crashed around him, and unleashed the 67-yard game-sealing touchdown that put the entire building into absolute chaos. Coaches screaming on the sideline, teammates sprinting downfield in celebration, crowd shaking the upper deck so hard security reportedly checked the structural integrity. It wasn't just a touchdown. It was the statement throw Cleveland has been waiting for since Bernie Kosar left town. The kind of throw that makes highlight reels. The kind of throw that changes narratives. The kind of throw that turns a 5th-round project into a franchise quarterback overnight. And make no mistake, this changed the locker room dynamic instantly. According to multiple insiders close to the team, several veterans approached Sanders after the game, telling him point blank, "You're the guy. This is your team now." Others reportedly said that the offense feels different with Sanders running it more confident, more explosive, more dangerous. One anonymous offensive lineman allegedly told a reporter, "We blocked harder for him tonight than we have all season." That's what happens when you believe in your quarterback. That's not subtle. That's a locker room choosing sides. That's veterans signaling to the coaching staff in front office. We know who gives us the best chance to win, and it's not the guy you've been protecting all year. Meanwhile, fans online lost their minds. Posts, clips, edits, trending tags, all pointing to one undeniable truth. Cleveland only wins when Shedeur plays. It's not an opinion anymore. It's not fan hype. It's not Twitter overreaction. Tonight made it fact. Look at the numbers. When Dillon Gabriel starts, the Browns are inconsistent, predictable, and one-dimensional. When Shedeur Sanders plays, even with 0 first-team reps, even with no preparation, even thrown into impossible situations, the offense comes alive. Coaches tried to limit him. Analysts tried to dismiss him. Gabriel tried to compete with him. Yet when the lights were brightest, when the Raiders were one possession away from flipping the game, when Cleveland's season was teetering on the edge of irrelevance, Shedeur carried them alone. 11 for 20 means nothing when you break down the tape. It's the timing, the reads, the arm strength, the leadership, the big play DNA that won this game. It's the difference between a game manager and a game changer. Gabriel manages, Sanders changes everything. But here's where it gets messy, because now Kevin Stefanski has a decision to make. And based on everything we've seen this season, the way he handled the quarterback competition, the way he refused to give Sanders first-team reps, the way he stood by Gabriel even when the fans revolted, Stefanski doesn't want to make this decision. League sources suggest that Stefanski still believes Gabriel gives the Browns the best chance to win. That's the language coaches use when they're trying to protect their guy. When they're defending a decision they know fans hate. When they're stubbornly clinging to a narrative that reality keeps destroying. But ownership sees the ratings spike when Sanders plays. Ownership hears the chants. Ownership reads the social media engagement numbers. Ownership knows that season ticket renewals depend on hope. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is the only hope Cleveland has. So, what happens next? If Gabriel clears protocol, does Stefanski really go back to him after tonight, after the stadium literally shook, when Sanders threw that touchdown after veterans openly declared Sanders the guy? And if he does, if Stefanski benches Sanders after a winning performance, what does that do to the locker room? What does that do to fan support? What does that do to Stefanski's job security? Because let's be clear, Cleveland fans will burn this organization to the ground if they go back to Gabriel now. They've watched 2 decades of quarterback incompetence. They've endured Johnny Manziel, Deshaun Kaiser, Baker Mayfield's collapse, Deshaun Watson's disaster. They're done being patient. They're done trusting the process. They want Shedeur Sanders. And after tonight, they have every reason to demand him. This wasn't just a win. This was the declaration. Cleveland, you found QB1, and everyone knows it now, except maybe the one person who matters most, the head coach who spent all season trying to prove otherwise. The question is whether Kevin Stefanski is brave enough to admit he was wrong, whether he's willing to hand the keys to a 5th-round rookie who just outperformed every expectation, whether he values winning more than protecting his ego. Because if tonight proved anything, it's this: Shedeur Sanders isn't just Cleveland's future, he's their present. And the clock just started ticking on how long the Browns can keep pretending otherwise.